Hello and welcome to another Voice Essentials live session here on YouTube. Welcome along to those of you who have not joined me before. I'm hoping that the next 20 minutes or so can be a really good time of learning for all of us. And this week I am on, well, it's the studio break. So we always take a week's break between terms, and we are in the lead up to Easter. So this is the week I've chosen to take off between terms this year, so for terms 1 and 2. So as a result, I'm actually getting to our time together a little bit later on a Monday, but I'm hoping that then affords a few of you who sometimes miss the live sessions to be able to join in a little bit later in the day, maybe depending on where you are in the world. And I can see that Rebecca Axe has already jumped in. Rebecca, you've said it's morning. It is not morning, my dear. It is around about 10 to 2 on a Monday afternoon here in Brisbane, Australia, and I'm looking forward to just having a nice easy day off. Well, actually, I'm not actually having a day off. I've been writing all morning, and for those of you who don't know, I do a regular pre-recorded videos about singing tips and all those sorts of things, and they go live on a Thursday. But a big part of the preparation of those videos is I actually script those videos, and so I take the time to research the subject and really deep dive into the subject for you. And so today, this morning, and tomorrow morning, in fact, I will be writing a couple of scripts in ready for some videos that we're going to be doing a little bit later. And in fact, it was actually as I was writing this morning's script, I was writing about expectations and the fact that sometimes it's our expectations that can trip us up in what we're expecting from our voice. And so consequently, this sort of got me thinking, and I thought, hey, this would be a really good subject for us to talk about live and to quickly just unpack a few things. And so that's what we're going to do today. So make sure you jump on, make sure you let me know in the comments section where you're from, what it's like in your part of the world, what time it is in your part of the world, and we'll have a lot of fun together during today's live session, live hangout. So without any further ado, let's get going.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Yeah, so as I said, we're going to be talking about not just the expectations, but the ups and downs of learning to sing. You know, I think we can all too easily fall into a bit of a trap in seeing, singers on big stages with a lot of lights and smoke machines, and our expectations can sort of be, I guess, lulled into a false expectation about what this journey of learning to sing is all about. But before we get into that, I want to try something with you today, if you're okay with that. And I want to try actually working with Twitter. And so you can see down there at the bottom of your screen, I've actually got the ability, well, I'm hoping I have the ability to use Twitter to actually post your questions live onto the screen. And if you just use the hashtag while we're live, obviously if you're watching this after we've finished, this won't work. But if you're live, if you type into a Twitter question, hashtag Voice Essentials, then I will be able to search for that, and hopefully, this is going to be the first time I've ever tried this, so it may not work. So forgive me if my tech skills abandon me at the wrong moment. But hopefully we'll then be able to post your questions up onto the screen in the form of a Twitter question, a tweet. And so make sure you take an opportunity to do that. Hashtag Voice Essentials, and I'll just leave that up there for a moment just so that you can use that to your advantage. Let's just quickly jump across and see who we already have joining us today. So we've got g'day Bayadir. So you've got a question there. That's great. So make sure you leave your questions. So we're going to have a quick chat about the ups and downs, but then later in the session, together we're going to talk through your questions. So any questions that you have, make sure you leave them over in the live chat, and we'll hopefully get to those for you. So we'll get to your question a little bit later, Bayadir. Victor Sales, 1 a.m. here. Whereabouts are you, Victor Sales? Let us know. I know that Rebecca and Linda are both from Australia. So nice to see you both. And Sandy Fox, it's almost midnight here in northern New York. I'm just getting into your jammies, or here in Aussies, sometimes we call them gym jams. So hopefully that's going to be nice and comfortable for you. Toronto, 12 a.m. Wowzers. Okay, well then I hope that we won't keep you up too late, and we'll be able to get to your question a little bit later, Bayadir, so stick around. And Victor Sales, you're from Brazil, nice to see you. And so make sure you take the opportunity to also leave your questions. Let me see if anyone's left a question here on with their hashtag Voice Essentials. Not yet, but we will get to that a little bit later. And so let's talk about these ups and downs of singing. You know, as I said before, singing, we can fall into this trap of believing that singing is a glamorous journey that only ever has an upwards trajectory, and you know, anything but is the reality. I think most of us understand this, but we can still have this, you know, innate expectation that wants for us to constantly be enjoying the journey, and especially in this society of quick fix and short-term gains and immediate self-gratification. It's all too easy to, the moment we hit a practice session, or a week of practice sessions, or even a month where the voice just doesn't seem to be performing at its best, it's easy to become discouraged. And I've observed over my years of teaching that it is all too easy for these moments to actually completely derail and in some cases completely shipwreck a developing singer's development. And so you know, I often will have a conversation with my private students. If I start to observe this in a private student, we will sit down and talk about where they're at. You know, and sometimes the issue is about our physical well-being. You know, things like not getting enough sleep, bouts of sickness, your general overall vocal health can be all very discouraging. And you know, one of the challenges that we face as singers is we are our instruments. No other musician on the face of the planet is as heavily influenced by their surrounding environment, by, you know, the impact of a virus. For example, if a violin player in an orchestra is seated next to another violinist who has the sniffles, well, you know, it's not good that almost certainly means that they too could catch that virus because of vicinity. But in the end, it won't have a dire impact on their instrument. It might make them feel horrible, but the instrument doesn't suffer. Whereas we as singers, if we are in a band and we're surrounded by musicians who maybe have got the cold and we've still got a gig with them, the moment we come into contact with that virus and we become sick, then that has an impact on our instrument. No other musician has to deal with that. And that can be really hard, and it's something that you have to learn to cope with and work through the challenges of. And it can be, especially if you go from one sickness, you know, those years where you'll have a year where you just feel like you're rolling from one sickness to the next because your immune system has really taken a hit. That can become really discouraging. But there's also another area that we as singers have to work through as well, and that is our emotional well-being. How we feel emotionally will often have an impact on how we feel about our vocal development. And so things like being tired and feeling like you've had a heavy week. For example, last week I had a really heavy going week for a whole range of reasons. And I got to the end of the week, and I tell you what, I was really glad that I've got a week's break from teaching this week, because do you know what? If I had have had to teach, I would have, but it would have been really hard work. And so I'm really pleased that I was able to, to have a week's break, because I knew in myself that I was just really spent emotionally. And so, these things, as we're developing vocally, if we don't recognize these moments in time where we need to be gracious to ourselves and to our voice, if we just feel like we've just got to keep plowing ahead, that can really be a disservice to you and your vocal development. It's important that you recognize those moments in time when you need to take a break. Sit your voice on the shelf and say, I'll get back to you tomorrow or next week, because that's when I'm going to be ready to pick this up again with renewed enthusiasm, renewed energy. And I want to really encourage you, if you are feeling like that right now, if the 10th of April, which is what it is here in Australia, if you're feeling discouraged, then, it might be a moment to just take a moment, stop, refresh, go and do something completely different. Even if you wake up one morning and you're not feeling, particularly emotionally drained, you feel relatively well rested, but you go and to do your practice, and for whatever reason, it's just not working. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, 5-10 minutes in, it's actually sometimes better for you to stop and go, do you know what? It is not working today. I don't know why. It could be that the wind is blowing the wrong direction. It probably doesn't matter. Today, it's not working for whatever reason. I've been disciplined in coming into my practice space to develop, but it's not working. What I might do is go and do something else. And there could be something like silent practice, for example, sitting down and learning some lyrics by writing them out, doing an activity that doesn't expect the voice to behave in any particular manner. So, look, why don't you, in the comments section, why don't you list a whole range of other things that I'm missing as I'm talking through the ups and downs of your singing. Have you ever experienced moments where you've been really discouraged and felt like you couldn't go on with your development of your voice? I know I have. I've even had one particular performance experience where actually it really gave me a massive confidence hit. It was in front of a national audience, live to national TV, and it was appalling, and a big part of it was my fault, and I took a real hit from it, and it took me a long time to re-establish my sense of confidence and feeling like I could put it out there again. Now that's at the pro end of the thing, of the process, but equally the same thing can happen even in the very beginning weeks and months of your development. Maybe someone hears you sing and you get a really negative, nasty piece of feedback, and that could be really discouraging. Sometimes it's best, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Acknowledge emotionally what you've just experienced. Say, yeah, I've just taken a hit. I've got to just stop for a moment, regroup, and surround yourself with some positive feedback, and then keep going. I hope that's helpful to you as you work through the ups and downs of your development. And I wonder if we've got any. Have we got any voice essentials? We don't seem to have any yet. Come on, guys. At least force me to make a mistake. Make sure you put the voice essentials into your tweet. And even if you just want to help me test this out, because it's something that I've never done before, but that's all good. Let's jump across and have a look at your questions, and see where we're up here. So I'm going to go right back up to Bayadir's question. Bayadir is from Canada in Toronto, and it's about 4 minutes past midnight, I think, from memory is what she said, or he said. I actually have no idea as to what gender you are. Okay, so question for you, for your down section: perpetually dry throat, causing burning on the back of the throat and affecting voice before my show. Thoughts or help? Well, there are a number of things that can cause a burning sensation in your throat, and I would venture to suggest that there is a likelihood that the burning sensation, there's a few things. It can come from reflux, and so for those of you who haven't seen the recent video on reflux, I'd recommend you have a watch of that. Just go across to the Voice Essentials channel, and one of the more recent videos is about dealing with reflux, so I'd encourage you to have a watch of that, Bayadir. The second one is, when we don't, if we're dehydrated, then we can get a tightness, and for some people that can be experienced as a burning sensation because we're dehydrated, there's not enough hydration of the voice, and so everything feels dry and tight. And so I'd encourage you to ensure that you are well hydrated. And when I talk about well hydrated, I don't mean, drinking a litre of water in one go. I'm talking about drinking, 2 to 3 litres, sipping it throughout the day, not drinking big gulps in one hit, but teaching your body to retain hydration slowly but surely, and sipping that, as I said, 2 to 3 litres. Have a drink bottle close by. This always sits right next to me, and just sip your water throughout. And then, of course, it can also be a technical issue for you, Bayadir. The third issue can be a challenge with your technique, and that sense of dry throat or a burning at the back can be actually constriction, muscular constriction. And so I would be encouraging you to attend to all of those issues and have a gaze. Sorry, that was an Australian vernacular. Have a gaze means to take a quick look at those things. Okay, so let's go back to some other questions. What have we got here? So it's good to see you all jumping in here and entering your questions. Be sure to let us know where you're from. Peru. Jose Roberto Carlos Espinaza. I hope I got that right. Nice to have you come along. And of course Kev Tran from Toronto also. Very good. Coming down, it's 11 p.m. in Peru. That would be 11 p.m. Sunday, I dare say. Okay. Gavin Bott, you made it. Yes, you did, my friend. Well done. For those of you who do want to be notified about our live get-togethers, be sure to hit the, for those, firstly, you've got to subscribe, right? Subscribe to the channel, but right next to the subscribe button is a button icon. And the way to be notified every time I go live, and it's more often than not I go live, sometimes during Monday or Tuesday, sometimes later in the week, but generally Monday or Tuesday at some time during the day when I have a break between my clients, because I am actually regularly teaching. At any given moment in time, I have between 50 to 60 private singing clients. So unlike some singing teachers here online, I actually do teach predominantly for my income, and so I'm fitting my YouTube life in between what is quite a heavy caseload. So I hope you appreciate that. But more importantly, if you do want to get come onto these live shows, the bell icon is the best way to be notified about that. And then also the bell icon can help you get notified for when my pre-records go live, which is every Thursday at 5 a.m. And we discuss a whole range of subjects. And last week, ladies, you want to check it out. Last week we discussed premenstrual voice syndrome. And guys, you can watch it as well. It would be educational. But girls, obviously it's very specifically targeted at you. And I think many of you will get a lot out of that video. But anyway, we cover a whole range of subjects, and I think you'll get something out of jumping across and hitting that bell icon. So back to, where were we? Gavin bot, not Gavin. Do tenors automatically know how to mix? Do you know, actually, no, Gavin, they don't automatically know how to mix. In fact, for many male singers, one of the more underdeveloped of their voice will be their upper register, and in doing so, that will also exhibit an imbalance. Typically, for a lot of male singers, including tenors, an inability to balance the musculature. We've talked many times here on Voice Essentials about registration and muscular balance. I know there's a lot of confusion about that in certainly the YouTube community of singing. There's a lot of misinformation about it. So again, be sure to jump over to my channel and you can check out more information. Just go searching for voice registration, videos about voice registration, and you hopefully will find more information there. Hello, Denise, you're a name I haven't seen before. It's nice to have you come and join us. Let me bring us back over to this screen. And have we got any? We still don't have any. Hashtag Voice Essentials. Now, it may well be. Put in the comments section if you've tried to tweet on using the hashtag Voice Essentials icon. Tag. Let me know in the comments section so that I can. Maybe I've got something set up incorrectly, and hey, that would not surprise anyone. There's a lot going on with this. Trying to do these live posts by myself. Okay, back to Denise. I find that stopping and coming back to it helps a lot. Oh, I've missed something there. I find that stopping and coming. Oh, yes, and what we were talking about earlier. Absolutely. Sometimes it's best, when we're working through the highs and lows of our singing, just stop. Walk away. Go and have a cup of tea. Walk, go for a walk through a forest or something. Step away from it, and it'll just be, a great opportunity to come back. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, I was learning. I first was a guitarist, and in fact, I would stop short of calling myself a guitarist now because I'm capable as a rhythm guitarist, and I do self-accompany, but I'm no John Mayer. Anyway. When I first came to learning a thing called bar chords, my little hands, because I was learning as an early high schooler, my little hands just couldn't cope with getting the bar chord. And after about 3 months of really trying really hard to get it, my teacher was wise enough to go, do you know what? Let's just shelve that for a bit, and we'll come back to it a little bit later. And he was smart enough to recognize that my frustration was starting to actually create a bit of a barrier to my learning to love to play guitar. And so we went off on a completely different tangent. We went and learned other things. And about 6 months later, we came back to it. And hey presto, my hands had grown a little bit more. I had a little bit more strength. And I had a fresh energy for it, and I'd started to recognize possibly in myself how important it was. And hey presto, within 2 or 3 weeks, I was starting to play bar chords. And it really did take. It was so necessary, and I'm very thankful to my guitar teacher of the time who had the wisdom and the foresight to go, okay, we've hit a barrier, put it on the shelf, and we'll come back to it a little bit later. And so sometimes that can be something that is worthwhile you guys doing. Now let's see. I think I've just seen what I might have had wrong. Nope, I still don't have it right. Okay, so let's go back over here. Okay. Now, where am I? We're going up here. Okay. By the way, hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying, these live Voice Essential posts. I hope it really builds into your development and encourages you. They're a completely different dynamic, aren't they, to just watching the pre-records. And I do love being able to connect with so many of you from all over the world. And I really do feel like we're getting to know each other, which is exciting. I think we're really building a healthy community of encouragement and like-minded singers. So, yeah, make sure that you, continue to join me on these times. Okay, so let's go down to... you can't watch the video and the tweet at the same time. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure these things out as we go along. Let's go down, and the other, and by the end of the gig, my throat gets very sore. So let's go to Paper Gamer. There's this question. I have a question, Dan. When I practice, I don't get a sore throat or struggle with high notes, but when it comes to performing live, I struggle a lot with high notes and feel my voice really weak. And then further down, he says one thing down here. He's saying, and by the end of my gig, my throat gets really sore. You may be experiencing, Paper Gamer, don't you just love some of these names that people give themselves? You may be experiencing, Paper Game, that in the live setting, and you're experiencing adrenaline, you're experiencing excitement, you're experiencing the energy that is suddenly coming in behind all of your practice, and it really does lift us. And when we perform live, we get that sense of physical lift and excitement. And so what can really happen is it's a matter of, in fact, the only way to really practice this is to do more live performance. And it is the very thing that we can't emulate here in my studio. And for those of you who have never seen my studio, there it is. In my studio, the one thing that I can't emulate for anyone is live. Yeah, there are some things that you can only learn on a live stage. There is no other way around it. And so when we step onto a live stage, we actually have to learn to manage our physical response. And so part of that journey of learning to sing live and manage your technique is being able to go, okay, there's the adrenaline, because it comes about by virtue of performance anxiety, which for the vast majority of us we experience. And so you're having to learn to manage that lift in energy. And I once was doing this is a name drop, just to let you know. I try to avoid this, but I once was in an ensemble that was doing some backing vocals for Michael Bolton, and he was on tour here in Australia, and I was a part of the ensemble team. Anyway, we were all stood at, this is for the very end of the show. So there's already 15,000 people absolutely going manic. They'd love the show. He was a massive star at the time. This is during the, it was around about the mid to late 90s. And we're on this back platform. And what happened is it came up from behind the stage. So we all hopped onto this platform, couldn't be seen. And as we were singing, this platform hydraulically lifted us up so that we emerged, and we were dressed in, sort of a gospel attire. And we came up, and we're singing our ensemble backing, and up she goes. And I tell you, the adrenaline was so huge, and I was not unaccustomed to big performances by this stage in my career. I'd done quite a few of them, but I was not expecting just how big this moment would make me feel. And I was so, wow, this is so exciting. My adrenaline caused me to sing at least 1/3 higher than the melody line that I should have been singing. Fortunately, I think for the most part, we were eye candy more than, actually used for the audio. But nonetheless, it was such a big moment, and I just distinctly remember this surge of adrenaline causing me to, overdrive my voice to the point where I was singing, as I said, a third above. And so, paper gamer, I would encourage you, do more performance and learn to bring those two worlds of practice and performance closer together so that you are able to manage that tendency to get tight and what have you. And I'm going to try something because I think some of you guys no, I'm still not finding. Have any of you been able to put in that tweet? I think I've got something wrong at my end. Something's going wrong there. How did, yeah, okay, so there's some conversation going. Yeah, that's fantastic. One of the great things about this community is I don't have all the answers. And I'm never going to tell you that I have all the answers. The only people that will suggest to you, and often they won't tell you directly, they won't state it, categorically for you, but they'll imply that they have all the answers, and that is gurus, people who consider themselves to be at the top of the food chain. I'm not a guru. I'm a learned singing voice specialist, but whilst, yes, I recognize and acknowledge I'm learned, I'm still learning. And I've actually learnt many things from our times together here on Voice Essentials, and a number of things that get written in comments, and sometimes I'm challenged on something that I say, causes me to go back to my books and rework or relook at what I've for many years just taken for granted as knowledge. And sometimes I've found myself to be wrong. And at those times I'm very thankful that that we have this community, because no one wants to be wrong. Everyone wants to be be right, and I want to give you great information. And so you can help each other in the comments under all of my videos. Engage in conversation with each other. There is wisdom in the counsel of many, and certainly, whilst it's my channel and, it's Dr. Dan's name on the top of the door, we are a great community and we're all learning from each other. So good to see conversation going on down in the comment section. Okay, so, I can just see, I've just seen down here, I mean, you can see this. Sam has been wanting to join us live for I don't know how long. Sam, well done, my friend. Good to see you jump in and finally come live. It was actually you I was thinking about when I decided to just wait a little bit longer before I went live today, because I thought, oh, maybe this will help Sam out and get on. So good to see you here, mate. Well done. Okay, have we got any more questions? Okay, Linda, you've tried to give me a tweet. I'm just not seeing it. Hey, I don't know why. It's just not at voice hashtag. I'll see if I can. It's just not coming up. I am almost certain. We'll try this again at another time. I am almost certain I've done something wrong. Something's not quite going right. And so I apologize for that, everyone. We'll try it again in another live cross. Okay, so let's go back up here. And we're not going to spend much more time. I think I was always kidding myself that these were going to be about 20 minutes. I always said at the beginning, when we first started to do these live hangouts, that would go for 20 minutes. In fact, most of them go around about 35, 40 minutes, and I think that's, well, we're up to 35 minutes. So let's do two more questions. I'll answer two more questions, and then we can call it a day. Now, where am I going to go over here? Nigel Lau, Dr. Dan, do you think diffusing essential oils would be good for your voice since cold and flu season is coming? Do you know, a lot of the research, Nigel, would suggest that, in fact, no, it's not a great idea. Essential oils will leave an unnecessary coating at best. along the vocal tract because we're putting an oil into the air and then we're breathing that. And at worst, those oils can actually be quite abrasive for your voice. And so when it comes to cold and flu season, I always have a little saying here in Australia for my private clients, is that during the months of winter, in fact, I always say from Easter right through to Eka. Now, Eka is Brisbane, Australia's royal show. We have a community, a citywide big festival show thing, and it's called Eka. Anyway, the point being is that happens midway through August. So really, from about the months of April through to August, September, I encourage students to always get themselves a room humidifier and put the humidifier on while they sleep overnight. Now, often those humidifiers will come with eucalyptus oil or menthol or something that can accompany the steam. Do not use them. Only you ever use the vapor from the water, the H2O. All the research would suggest that that's all you need. The benefit is in actually the moisture droplets as you breathe those while you sleep. And look, every single time a student takes up that suggestion, they all, bar none, come back and say, I cannot believe how good my voice feels when I wake up in the morning. And so if you live in a cold, dry climate, then hydrating your voice with a room humidifier at night is excellent. And it reminds me that now we're about to hit Easter, I will be getting mine out, and every night my wife and I will sleep with a humidifier on in the room, and something that I would encourage you to do. You do have to be careful with the development of mold, and so make sure that that you're not creating an environment that's too moist. And some of the more expensive ones, I don't own one of them, I own one of the cheap ones, but some of the more expensive ones you can actually adjust how much steam. So if you're in a smaller room, then you can adjust the steam and have less, and so you're not sort of creating a rainforest level moisture content in your room while you sleep. So I hope that's helpful to you, mate. Okay, and we're going to go one more question. Let's give it to the Messiah, I think he's calling himself. Hey, Dr. Dan, will lip trills help me to unify my chest and head register? Greetings from Peru and greetings back from Australia. Yes, lip trills will. Lip trills, for those of you who I think a lot of us who are learning to sing have heard of lip trills before. Lip trills are a part of the semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, and they, as a group of exercises, many of them are really helpful. So lip trills, so what we often call lip bubbles, tongue trills, NG sirens, can be really helpful in connecting that, moving through those register transitions and helping you to balance, get better muscular balance throughout the voice. And so, yes, I would encourage you to have a look at that. The Messiah from Peru. I'm left to wonder whether your actual name is Jesus, but anyway, because I know a lot of people over in those Spanish-speaking countries can be. Anyway, so have a look onto the YouTube, onto my channel. Go looking for lip bubbles. Are you doing them correctly or the right way? I forget exactly what it's called, and you'll be able to have a look at lip bubbles in detail, because very few people actually find themselves doing lip bubbles correctly. And if you're not doing it correctly, they can actually be of great disservice to your voice. And so the Messiah, I would encourage you to have a real good look at that video, because that'll be really helpful. Right, we are about to hit the 40-minute mark. This has been a great session together. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed the Hangout today. I love doing these things with you guys because we get to have this personal connection, and I'll try to figure out this this tweet thing. I'm almost certain that I've done something wrong. We'll try to figure out that for next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to make sure you remember to hit the bell icon so you receive notification that we're going live, and so that you don't miss one of these live hangouts. Hit the thumbs up button, and hey, take a quick moment to share this video or one of my other videos with a friend who sings, who you believe will really benefit from, well, today's video, really benefit from being encouraged if they're feeling discouraged about their voice and they don't feel like, they're actually in one of those down moments as opposed to the ups. Maybe today's video will be a real encouragement to them. I certainly hope it is. I hope it's been encouraging to you. And look, I wish you all, for those of you who celebrate the Christian festival, this is Holy Week. And for those of you who do celebrate the Christian celebration of Easter, I wish you a blessed Easter as you remember Christ and Him being crucified and rose again on the third day. Be blessed, and I will see you in the new week after Easter Monday. It won't happen Easter Monday, I don't think. But until I see you in the next Voice Essentials video, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.